Welcome to Talent Takeover
Unfiltered.
When it comes to working hard and keeping it real, we know our shit. Self-care, happiness, inner peace, and time. I'm Brianna Rooney, and this is Taylor Bradley.
Hey, y'all.
And we have thrived in chaos and turned it into an art form. So Taylor, what are we doing here today?
We're here to give you a raw, under-the-hood view of all things recruiting and finally give credit where credit is due to a long underrated industry that's full of quote-unquote experts.
All right. Well, then let's take this show to the road.
Hello. Welcome to Takeover Unfiltered. And today is a very, very special day. Did I miss something in the title?
Yeah, I was just, what? What did she just say? So tell our listeners.
Okay, so today is, first of all, our 100th episode.
Shot. It's water.
No, damn it.
You're all this fucking hydrated. It's water.
Hey, speak for yourself. So 100th episode came really fast, I thought, because it's just been like a really great time just shooting the shit with you. And we met in Dallas, whatever. Yeah, a couple of 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was speaking. You watched my kids. We had this great weekend. We were getting boozy. We were talking about our careers, and we both. So for anyone that has not listened, we have been in recruiting now for 16 years, both of us. And it's like one of those, like, I don't know, fatigued moments. Maybe it's the industry sucks. Maybe it's like we've talked about all sorts of stuff. So if you haven't actually listened to our episode about, empowering your careers and re-energizing it, definitely check that out because it's really great. We get raw all the time. I was going to go in a different direction there. Sorry. But Taylor, help me out here.
I was going to say, save that for later. That's episode 3. No,
I was going in too many places.
Yeah, but, just going back to what you said, we were in and giving our listeners kind of, because I feel like everybody, maybe they don't openly talk about it, but has to be feeling the same way that we were kind of feeling. So to give you guys context, we were sitting at this rec center that I take my kids to. We got gym, like all this cool stuff, right? And we're just sitting there chit-chatting. The kids are all playing. And we were just talking about talent. And we're talking about recruiting. We're talking about the industry. We're talking about what are we going to do with our lives? Like what direction are we going in? And I think both of us had this moment and or had been having these moments where we were like, never did we think we'd be here at this point in our lives or our careers at this point in our lives. So I didn't think, I'll speak for myself, I didn't think that I would kind of be at this like impasse. What am I doing? I'm almost 40. What am I doing? I thought I would have my shit figured out by 40, and I've always been one of those people that's had my shit figured out. So to be at a place where you're kind of like a midlife crisis, where you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like minus the affair and sports car, you're like,
I'm getting a Corvette.
Yeah. It's like, I just need to, from my personal life is great. I'm really, really happy there, but it's just like professionally, I'm like, this talent recruiting industry right now is brutal. And our listeners, I know that's the bulk of our listeners. I know they get it. They relate to that. And, I think we've talked about so many different things as it relates to the talent acquisition industry. We've talked about so much as it relates to owning your own business, starting your own business. We've talked about a lot from a business aspect, but how this all originated, this podcast in general, Talent Takeover Unfiltered, was just from our banter and us shooting the shit. And, it was all about work stuff, but just laughing. And we're like, we just need to let people in on this. And so, that's been our journey for the last couple of years with Talent Takeover Unfiltered. But we just wanted to get even more unfiltered and really be able to like expand and talk about anything that we want. Talk about, your dating life, which is some amazing stories for our listeners. Like her experiences on the dating apps were just awesome. It was like, I have one of my other best friends that I was telling about your stories, and she's like, what's going on? She's invested at this point, like it'd be weeks later. She's like, how'd the date with, so-and-so go, because you have names for them. I was like, it's actually really fucking funny because she has names for them, like it's a book or something. And it's not their name necessarily. It's like a, like wrestler so-and-so. And so anyways, I'm like, this is just good shit. And we wanted to be able to just talk about whatever is on our hearts, whatever's on our mind, whatever we're going through, whatever we're feeling. And, some of that is going to be business. Some of that is going to be recruiting. Some of that is going to be looking for jobs and things like that. And so we wanted to be able to really be like truly unfiltered with even what our episodes are about.
Yeah, we wanted to spread our wings. I think we've been dedicated to this industry for so long that it's like, you don't want to feel like a caged bird where it's like we're living, sleeping, breathing, recruiting, talent acquisition all the time. But I think for me, especially in like the last 2 to 3 years, mindset has become such a mega thing that I talk about in every coaching and training and e-courses, all of that stuff internally. It's what I talk about all the time because I think it's like 80% of why we do so great, right? So this is why we're taking it still Takeover Unfiltered, because we're taking control of our lives on any aspect of it, every aspect, whether it's the kids, like we were talking about kids, or professional. It's like we'll tell funny stories that we think are funny naturally. But it's like also you're going to be able to relate to stuff like this. It's like kind of the stuff that no one's really talking about, but everyone thinks about. It's like, I want to hear about that. But what I like too is that we also have like, I think the freedom to talk about work as well, to talk about like
for sure
why this goes well, why this doesn't, stuff like that. I can't wait. I know that we want to like kind of put the lid on like some of the topics that we're going to talk about, even though I cannot help myself. But let's go back to, we have 100 episodes.
Yeah.
So what were some of your favorites?
Yeah. So one of my favorites, because, I used to say this all the time when we would have conversations, not about you or to you, but it's just like getting comfortable having difficult conversations. And, the whole episode was about like, it's a conversation, not a confrontation. And I know that was one that we got a lot of comments, a lot of people reaching out, a lot of messages on, because I think that's just a common thing that, most people I would say are like, not comfortable having difficult conversations. So that one, it was in addition to our conversation, our dialogue about it, I really liked the feedback that we got from our listeners on that one. And the engagement and interaction that we got, that one was really special to me.
Are you thinking about starting your own recruiting agency? Still trying to figure out where to begin? You are not alone. Many aspiring agency owners are intimidated by the unknowns, the complexities of the recruitment industry, to the point that they don't even start. They let their dream fizzle out. Womp, womp, womp. While watching others succeed. So the freedom to be their own boss and not have their potential earning capped slipped right through their fingers. But what if I told you there's a way to turn that overwhelming challenge into your biggest opportunity? That's exactly why I created the Start Your Own Recruiting Agency Crash Course. This shouldn't be a secret that I keep. As a serial entrepreneur in the tech recruiting space, I have over 15 years of experience in building, scaling, and successfully exiting recruiting companies. This comprehensive bootcamp is designed to guide you through every step of launching and growing a successful recruiting agency. I wish I had this course when I first started. That was hard. It could have saved me so many headaches, so many costly mistakes. And this course covers everything from creating your business blueprint to mastering sourcing techniques and delivering best-in-class candidate experience. Imagine having over 7 hours of video instruction, 30 plus downloadable resources. All of these are designed to propel you towards achieving that 6 to 7 figure milestone. This is what I'm offering to you. Let's tackle these challenges head on. Enroll in starting your own recruiting agency today and take that first step towards building the career and life you've always wanted.
Mm-hmm. I have others as well, but I want to hear your top.
Yeah. No, I'll just go through a couple because I think we can go back and forth, and I'm wondering if they have the same. So we talk about it a lot, but it's the improve your life 1% every single day.
Yep,
with Kevin. One of my favorites, and for listeners up and coming, because of that episode, because I truly believe in that and I strive for that, that was actually why I am with the current person I'm with, because he had that on his dating profile. Get 1% better. I want to be with someone that wants to be 1% better every single day. And I'm like, sign me up. That's who I want.
Fun fact, he was her stalker and he listened to the episode and put that on her and found her. So you guys will hear more about that later. Kidding. It's a joke.
All right.
But that's what.
Is it?
Sorry, Jeb.
Love you. Mean it. Another one that I think we really got a lot of hits on is No More Mrs. Nice Recruiter with Carrie.
Yeah.
I think that one was really cool because it hit a couple of different things, whether even you're in the recruiting industry or not. It was so relatable on essentially how you stand up and get it done. I think it was probably more relatable with women because of what she said. She's like, look, I'm in my 50s now, and I finally realized how to like work a room and how to be confident. And it was act like a man. And I'll never forget when she said that. And I was like, oh my God, she just said that. So it's like also the benefit of being unfiltered, which I think is super cool. Cause like, let's just let it rip. Like, how do we really feel?
Yeah.
Because that's how we actually make movement in careers and personal lives. It's like, all right, let's grab our confidence, grab our balls, grab our confidence. And let's just,
That was one of my favorites too, because she was also just very transparent about the struggle that she had, like where she started versus where she ended up, not in her from her career perspective, but like as far as, you know, reading the room and, you know, grabbing her lady balls, like you said, and just like, you know, like it was a journey for her. And so her speaking about that was, I think was like, I don't know, it's really empowering to me because it's like some people are born that way. Some people are not. Some people like have to evolve into being that. And I'm always impressed. I don't care what it is. I'm always impressed when people can strive to change themselves, you know, for the better, like whatever that is that they're doing. If you can actually see something that you want to change, but changing something about your personality is pretty hard to do. So the fact that like, she did that, pretty impressive.
And I love like how she talked to herself, you know, before she got into her room. She's like, all right, here we go. It's like, jam. You know, and I actually did that stuff when I first had my my talk in SHRM. That was the first time I was publicly, you know, doing a speaking event. And that's exactly what I did. I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, all right, Brandon, you got this. You're excited. You're not nervous. Let's do this. You know, I was like, I said it out loud. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, if anyone's in here, like, whatever.
Didn't I care
to myself right now? Don't care.
Yeah. That one was amazing. And then the other one that I loved was chase the mentors, not the money.
Ooh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I do like that one. Ooh.
Yeah. And how to get a mentor.
Yes. I mean, how long have you had a mentor for?
I've had different mentors. So I would say that I've probably, so out of like 16 years of being a talent acquisition, I would probably say that I've had a mentor like, I don't know, at least 14 of those years because my first mentor, I met my first mentor very, very young into my career and then was my mentor for a long, long time, like a really long time. But I do think you should have multiple mentors. We talked about that in the episode. Like you need to have, and that can change and evolve, and it could be different kinds of mentors. It can start as one relationship, like a coach, and then turn into a mentorship. Like it can take on various forms. But I feel like I've kind of always had one for the bulk of my professional life. I think
Bill Dyson. Yeah, for sure. Mine started with my stepdad, but then like professionally, where I'm actually paying for it, has been like 6 years now. But total game changer.
Oh, see, I view those two things differently. I view a mentor as somebody that's not paid, and then I view a coach as somebody that's paid. So like, that's where I was saying it could evolve into from a coaching relationship into like a mentorship if you are at a point that you're like no longer paying them, but you still stay connected. I don't know. I kind of feel like it could be in my mind, it's two different things. I feel like a mentor is just like more organically somebody that wants to help you do well in business and somebody that kind of like takes you under their wing. And is like, let me teach you the ways. And somebody that you can call when you have an offer letter and you're like, hey, can you look at this for me? Or can you tell me, you know, like look at this equity for whatever it is, like somebody that is just kind of like your person to bounce things off of and like understands from a business, has just lived more life than you typically and has seen things that you haven't seen. And so somebody that can give you guidance to navigate different situations.
Yeah, I love that. The other episode that I liked is the 21 skills that pay you forever.
Yeah.
So if you have not, I think we did 2 parts in that one.
We did.
I love that for so many reasons, and probably because I have kids, you know, because it's like, okay, let's get back to like the nitty gritty. What are some things that can really help you now and forever? And I loved it. So I took it like extra personal, you know, which I think like sometimes when you take things like personal and have that extra added emotion, it just really is exciting. And it's like really nitty gritty. I loved it.
Yeah. It makes me think like this is a tangent moment. People are going to be like, what? But I was thinking about the 21 skills and then also the mentorship. And I have a friend who's, she's working with like, I think this girl's 20 and just graduated. And, you know, she's 38, 39. And so, you know, 18, 19 years difference. And it's like, she's teaching her all of these things, like kind of not so much business things as far as mentorship, but like life things. Like she was telling me she's putting her on to like this different good music, like this music we grew up, TV shows. She's telling her about when you used to have like a phone plugged into your wall and like when you got your first phone and the, you know, remember the clear ones that were plugged into the wall. And so for this girl, it's like mind blown. You know, she cannot wrap her head around the way that the world used to be, but she's really, really interested in it, which I thought was super cool. Like really and I had that thought. And then it makes me wonder about Lima and Diego too. I'm like, are they going to like at some point ever be really interested in how we grew up? You know, like the phones and we didn't have the internet and all of that and stuff. And so it's like mentor our kids on what like life, you know, you're supposed to be your kid's mentor, I guess, or one of them. But it'll be really interesting to see if we get any, once we start, you know, these episodes that we're going into where we're really being unfiltered about relationships, about not just business, relationships. We're talking about sex. We're talking about dating, all that stuff. I'll be interested to see if we get any listeners that are like younger generations that kind of want to hear a little bit more about, you know, our experience. These old hats.
I would hope so. Yeah, the old parts.
Yeah. I'm interested in that stuff though. Like I like hearing about how shit was back in the day. Not the like back in my day we used to walk 6 miles in snow stuff. Yeah. But like, how did people communicate? What did they do for fun? What did high school kids do for fun? Like, it's just so different. It's crazy how much it changes in like 20 years, you know?
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually having all of my kids watch like the movies I used to like love.
Yeah.
You know? And one by one, I'm trying to be like, oh, well, I hope this one's appropriate. But as we know, like they were far more racy. They were far more racy back then where I'm like, you know what? I grew up just fine and I knew these things, you know? So it's like, whatever. Like I'm just kind of pushing the envelopes on this one. I feel like next up is Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Oh, I loved Ace Ventura. Well, and then so like we're gonna get into that for our listeners. We're gonna talk about movies.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about like movies we loved, movies we love now. We're gonna talk about parenting. One topic I'm passionate about. I can't wait for us to talk parenting in a tech world. That is like a whole fucking different beast. And I feel like a lot of people, if you're a parent, you're parenting in a tech world right now. So I think, and then I'd be curious to hear what tips other people have for us that, you know, their kids are older and they've already been doing this for a little bit. So we definitely want this. We say this every time, but we definitely want this to be very engaging. We want it to be, our listeners reach out to us with questions. I think setting the scene for everybody with the Ask a Man series.
Oh, I am
Loving that.
Dying to do that. Are you going to tell them anything or is that it?
I mean, no, I think we should tell them like what it's, obviously we don't know the questions, but we need you guys to definitely start sending us in some questions because we are going to do an Ask a Man Anything series. And my husband has been lucky enough to be selected as the first man. Yeah. Aaron's going to come on and he's great because he just like tells it like it is. And he likes to just kiki and shoot the shit too with the girls. Like he can very much get in girl conversation and like, he'll give a guy's perspective and he's just like, it's not weird or maybe I'm biased because he's my husband, but it's not weird talking to him. Like a lot of my girlfriends talk about shit in front of him and he like gets in on the conversation. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what some of the questions are that people have and what some of his answers are. I bet I won't even know what some of his answers are.
Oh, that's what what I feel like after that conversation, we have to have one with just the two of us to like get all of your feedback. And I feel like we need to record it right afterwards. Like you're just all like, what the fuck just happened? Feedback.
What was that? Yeah, no, it's like and I it has to be a question. So this is where our listeners, we need y'all's help. It has to be questions that are, it can be truly about anything, but it can't be stuff that like Brian and I don't want to be the one asking him all the questions. You know, I live with them. She's vetted. It's truly like, what would you want to ask a man? And I think, you know, that's going to come a little bit later on in our episode. Stop it be the next one, but we want to start compiling questions now. So if you have some questions, we'd love for you to send those in to us.
Yep. And if you've ever had any burning episode ideas, we definitely want that too, because remember, we are really pushing the limits. So what you guys are, you know, you're not going to want to miss anything. I feel like, you know, we've really taken control I feel like over the talent acquisition podcast, world in general, in the last 100 episodes, this took off way more than we even, realized, which has been super cool. So let's just put it out there. We're listening,
Yeah.
that we want to come with it. So I'm going to go over one more. And I know I had like 5 different ones that I really liked, but I would say another favorite episode is Walk Away from Bad Business.
Yeah.
That one really stirred up some shit. Like if I think about when people like reached out, wow. That one was a biggie because no one wants to say goodbye to business. It's like we all need business. We all need to pay our bills. But I don't think they realized how powerful it is confidence-wise and how more efficient it is to walk away from bad business.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we talked about it in that episode, like our examples of bad business, but we've since had some more. And that's, I feel like something that we'll definitely incorporate into the podcast moving forward too, as well. Like just more horror stories of bad business. And I think that going back to like why we're going in this different direction, where we're really opening ourselves up even more is because of bad business, because of bad situations, because it's been a rough time at talent acquisition, which I know a lot of our listeners it resonates with them. They can relate to that. And so we didn't want to restrict ourselves on what we wanted to talk about or what we could talk about or, and it's like, other part to this is that I feel like LinkedIn is just so oversaturated now with people doing this exact same thing, not necessarily in podcast form, but posts and, all the stuff that like, I feel like wasn't really as prevalent or it wasn't around as much 2 years ago when we started the podcast. It wasn't
true.
Like now there's a ton of podcasts. Now there's a ton of recruiting podcasts. I'm not saying they didn't exist before. We weren't the first to do it, certainly, but I don't know. They're just everywhere. Everybody is giving advice on LinkedIn. Everybody's doing a podcast. And so we're like, fuck it. Let's just do our own thing. Like, we gave you guys the business version. That was like our professional version. Like, what the fuck? But this is us just being really raw with our personal lives. And, we love hearing each other's stories. So hopefully it's as interesting to our listeners as it is to us when we tell each other shit that happens. Like, God, this weekend, this just happened. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm actually really excited about this next chapter.
Yeah. So what the listeners didn't get to see or hear before we started recording is Taylor was telling a very personal, very funny story. And I'm like, wait, tell me on the broadcast. Yeah, tell me right now. Okay. But like, trust me, I am dying to know. Yeah, must hear the rest of that story. But I think what's cool too is like, we're really like this, we're just genuine, let's just hear it. I think it's really rare to find a friend, and especially because it was professionally, that you can really just be your authentic self.
Totally.
And no judgment. And that's what this podcast is about. Let's take over. Let's show the world how we do it. Because we're both great at our job. We both have been very successful for the last 16 years. And all of this shit that comes with it matters. It all came out like this is why perhaps why we were successful in doing things, because we have all of this different stuff and we are navigating our lives.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't know, you just see on social media, everybody seems to have everything. Everything's perfect. Everybody's got this great house, great spouse, great dog, great kids, great everything. And it's like, no, that's not really the truth. And, to your point, like we've both been, what we feel is successful for the last 16 years, but it hasn't come with some sacrifices and with some huge mistakes and a lot of learning moments. And I know we've talked about that. I know you specifically have spoken a lot about that in the rise and the fall episodes, but you didn't talk about the personal aspect with that. Like there was so much. You talked about the business rise, the business fall, like it was all about the business, but there was other things happening in your life throughout your career, throughout this journey that, really low moments that you've had, really low moments I've had. We've both had low moments since we met each other. We both have had I would say really, and I can't wait to tell our listeners about this because it's stuff they definitely don't know, but we've had huge life events in the time that we've known each other. And so I think really talking about that, and people they just see us pushing through. You don't see that there is absolute chaos or a shit show or our personal lives are a mess. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes, you just see that we're just showing up, we're doing our podcast. It seems like we're rocking it from a business standpoint. And I'm not saying we weren't, but it's just it's all that glitters isn't gold. It's not like everything is perfect all the time. I don't think I've ever had a situation or in my life where everything was perfect all at once. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that
Well,
doesn't happen.
I hate that P word. That P word's like the worst. Like I try to be like, nope, I'm not even saying that P word.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it to penis. Penis is my P word.
Well, everything's good all at once. I like, you know what I'm saying? No, but it's like something's usually like if you pour too much into this cups, you're sacrificing from this one. You know what I mean? And so I think we've learned a lot in these last few years. I think these last few years in TA, as hard as they've been, have been like my most, how do I say this without sounding like a dumbass? Like my most growth moments that I've had these like when the job market has been as hard as it has. And, you know, we both struggled together. We've struggled separately, like you and I. It's going to be wild for our listeners to really hear like, oh yeah, while we were recording these and doing all this was happening at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the morning we recorded this episode, this happened. And like, I just think it'll be really interesting for everybody to get to see all sides of us and really like, you know, they know us, I feel like pretty unfiltered from a business standpoint, but to actually get to know us as people, I think will be really powerful as well.
Hope. Yeah. It's like the behind the scenes reality show. So we need to make it big because we're really going to get controversial.
Yeah. No, we need y'all's help because we may be unemployable after this.
We have thought about that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, but we're just going to rock it. We're really excited about this new chapter and excited to bring you guys along with us and hopefully everybody that is a current listener stays a listener. I know that some of this may get a little uncomfortable for some of our male listeners, hopefully not, but just because we're going to be so raw and unfiltered with what we talk about. And of course, we're women, so it's going to be, you know, primarily from a woman's perspective, minus our Ask a Man Anything. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for them to get to see all aspects of our life.
Yep. And you know, when you think about it, every episode is Ask a Woman.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But I will say we're raunchier than most women.
Yeah, I was just
like gonna yell. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, like maybe we used to be men in this life or past, who knows? Yeah. What? Where is that on Austin Powers or something? Is that where that was from?
It's Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
there used to be one.
I knew I like heard that. I was thinking the same thing while you were saying that because I used to be one, but I'm like, what movie is that on? But I love Mrs. Doubtfire.
Love it, love it. Okay, so if you're as excited as we are, share it with your friends. Let's go viral. Let's have a good time. Let's have some good conversations because we'll still see you every Tuesday. Woo! Sorry. Well, okay.
Like, yeah. Thanks, y'all.